I'm Dorothy Godin, broker 3 Max Crown Realty, and welcome to Thursday Thoughts. Well, the market has been pretty stable in the last couple of weeks. Not as many multiple offers for sure, but we still have a lack of inventory, which is still keeping us in a seller's market. I find that buyers now have come to kind of accept that this is where the interest rates are, and they're starting to come out again and wanting to look at houses and are considering a buy before the winter snow comes in. I would just caution everyone about the information that's out there. You can find listings on so many sites. There's just an incredible amount of information out there that's readily available. And I would just say, it's great to look at the information. I always suggest to my people, if you're a buyer, let's get you on the automatic system where we plug in your criteria, location, usually location and price into the system so that every day as a new listing comes up that fits your criteria, you're getting that listing right away on almost the same minute that it gets listed. It will get pushed out to you in an email. And this is the best way to get the new information about what new listings are coming out. And also, I encourage my people to get onto realtor.ca because there are some listings that are coming through and they're on realtor.ca, but they're not necessarily on your local MLS system. And I always, these are the private sales that go through a Toronto brokerage to get onto realtor.ca. And they often will say to me, well, I am on MLS. Well, the reality is you're on MLS in a Toronto board. You are not on MLS in a Sudbury board. The Sudbury realtors are not seeing your listing. So because of that, I do encourage my buyers to, periodically get on realtor.ca to see what's new in your area. Because if it's a private, I can make arrangements to negotiate my fee and get you in the door. And through the years, I've done many private sales where I've negotiated for my buyer. But my point was more about the information that's out there and that there's a lot of information. But what you need your realtor to do is to give you insight into that information. I mean, it's great to have all the information. It's like when I do my stats, I can get all these numbers, but it's to make sense of those numbers and what do they truly mean. So when you work with a realtor and you're a buyer, we readily can get the history of that property. We can see when it's sold, how many times it's sold in the last few years, what the sale price was, of course, and if there's any old listings that can bring insight into, any issues that were on that property, we can bring that forward. And then you also want your realtor to look at area. Is this the area that you want to be in? Is this a higher end area? Is a lower end area? Is it close to shopping? Is it close to the schools that I need? Do you want to be in walking distance to your work? All of these things you're not going to get from just looking at a listing. So you want to be able to look at the listings, get that information, and then have your realtor give you some insight. Especially out of town buyers who are not familiar with the Sudbury area, there's a big difference in average sale price in the Donovan to Moonglow, and people need to see, here's what you get in this area, and here's the average sale price. Here's what you get in this area. There's that average sale price. So especially for out-of-town people who are not familiar with the area, having your realtor insight is very important. And this is one of the reasons I don't understand why buyers want to do it on their own. I think they want to do it on their own because they think they have all this information, but really they have information and no insight. Critical for me when I work with a buyer and they find a couple of houses that, are appealing to them. They're in the right area. They like the layout. They like the age of the home. They like the community that it's in. Then I go back to the office and say, okay, if I was going to list this price, where would I list it? And we're trying to decipher what's the true value of that house. And if you're a buyer working on your own, you don't have access to that information. I do know that, there has been strong conversations about giving access to the sale price of properties. And I think that's great. But also even there are insights into different properties. And as a realtor, we see a lot of properties and we know, this house got this particular money as opposed to this amount of money because there were certain issues with the house. So as we look at houses, we're mentally taking notes for our buyers to see, is there something about that house that my buyer needs to know? So I find that information is great, insight is important. So I hope you find this helpful. I hope you have a great week. I hope you're enjoying the fall weather. As always, you can reach me at Dorothy Godin at remax.net or 705-561-2360. Thank you.